Well, this is a motor that looks very similarly to the conventional ones, but it is based on the principles set forth in the book The New Physics Derived from the Disinverted Metaphysics by Norberto Keppe. This motor consists of the following. It has a coil, a spool, made of regular copper wire, and a magnetic rotor made of permanent magnets. A shaft, a switching system, one or two batteries, and a rectifying circuit. Here, a rectifier. So what happens here? In a conventional motor, the coil, this copper spool, is fed by the battery. The battery generates a magnetic field, and this field interacts with the rotor, whether magnetic or electromagnetic, so as to create motion. This conventional process causes the battery to rapidly lose power because it utilizes only one direction of the energy. In the case of our motor, we capture both components and the scalar energy as described in Dr. Keppe's book. So it utilizes the energy that comes from the battery and the returning energy that goes to the battery. This causes the motor to run with a higher efficiency, especially because the motor remains cool. It does not heat up and the power increases considerably. This motor provides torque, provides power to the shaft, it does not present heat losses, and in addition, it provides an increase of energy that can be returned to charge a third battery while the motor runs. So in short, this is a motor of very high efficiency. Now Roberto will start it. There we go. The motor is working with an optimized consumption of energy. Or in other words, it's using very little of the battery. A regular fan like this found on the market consumes about 50 to 60 watts. This device has around 24 volts and a very low current, well below 1 amp, and only 3 watts maximum, as compared to the 60 watts of a conventional fan.
As Dr. Keppe shows in the New Physics, every external movement derives from an internal movement through the internal vibration. So this motor that we developed based on the New Physics demonstrates this, because conventional motors utilize the energy of one direction only, which causes the spools to turn and work always in the same direction, in one direction only. In the case of this motor, it acts in the scalar field. As Dr. Keppe explains, scalar energy makes matter and causes the movement of the entire universe. This energy always works in two directions, and this motor works in exactly the same way. We give an initial impulse, a start, and then in the return of this energy, it captures this return of the scalar field, the scalar energy. And this causes the motor to run using almost no energy from the initiator, the batteries in this case. This motor uses batteries to provide the initial thrust, and the motor captures the second component of the energy of the scalar field. In this way, we can run a fan like this, which conventionally consumes from 30 to 60 watts, using less than 1 watt, and as you can see, it runs like a conventional fan. And so, when I connect this battery, we are going to feed the system with 24 volts, and it will run the fan. Note that the quantity of wire wrapped around here is enough to extinguish any battery in a short time, and also these windings would heat up a lot. But here we do not have this problem. This motor, as it is, without a fan attachment, spins at more than 2,500 rotations per minute. And the rotor is very much reduced because it's made of magnets and has no wiring. And with the fan it reaches 800 or 900 RPM. We can observe here that there is no type of heating of any kind. Normally, if you connect a battery to a coil like this, there is a substantial amount of heating up that now while the fan is running, we are going to charge a third battery. We can see that it presently shows 11.1 volts.
Note that the third battery has already reached 11.28 volts. 29, it continues to increase charge while the motor is running. Well then, the viewers might ask themselves, but why such a large motor as this? This one here is a lab test device, but it can be reduced substantially to a portable size. In fact, one of the great advantages of this motor is the portability of this kind of device. With a small battery, we can make it run for an incomparably longer period of time. This has a practical and immediate application to the car industry, for example, where a car alternator can recharge its own battery while at the same time, of course, this motor can be used for mechanical force because its torque is very reasonable. Another industrial application would be to avoid overheating problems, line overloads and burning or short-circuiting installations, because this motor runs cold. You can see that if I suddenly stop it, there is no short circuit. The coil remains completely cool and it resumes immediately upon restarting the system. I would like to stress that this electromagnetic circuit causes the magnetic field to capture electricity derived from this scalar field that Dr. Keppe explains well in his book, The New Physics. This is enough to maintain the battery very much longer and at the same time recharge other batteries in addition to the mechanical furnishings.
So this one here is a more developed version of the motor. We are using 2 coils and 4 pulses to generate the movement, which gives more power and speed. We can see here that with only 3 volts and practically less than 6 watts, we are able to start it. Now Cesar will speed it up a little bit for us to see how fast the motor can spin with only 15 watts at 3000 RPM, I mean less than a lamp, 1/6 of a lamp. We can already put it to run at a speed similar to the conventional motors.
Let's do it then.
Let's do it.
As I put it up, this is the current and this is the voltage. We are now with 6 volts, 7 volts, 7 and 0.3 amps. Look, 8 volts, 9 volts, 10 volts and half amp. This is 5 watts, 3 volts, 14, 15, 16, 18, 20, 21, 23, 25, 30 volts. With 30 volts, the motor is consuming 0.4 amps. This is less than 15 watts consumption, and the rotor is rotating at about 3,100 RPM. So, as you can see, a cold coil, a highly efficient machine. This motor, we repeat that because it uses the two components of energy. It has applications to medicine, also being of great benefit to mankind, in the sense of eliminating the atmospheric pollution and improving people's health.
Because it practically works with the same energy of our body, which is always the scalar essential energy, in the two directions, it is more in accordance with our vital energy.